Don't let lack of practice be the reason of failure in your audit and assurance examination. I'm Meghabhansali, ACCA and the Indian Qualified Chartered Accountant. I bring to you these series of solving past papers because most common mistake made in audit and assurance examination is lack of practice. So guys, please don't let that be the reason for your failure in audit and assurance examination. In these series, we would be decoding past papers where we will be discussing how to evaluate the question, how to answer according to the marks. If the marking scheme is 10 marks, 5 marks, then how much to write, what you need to write. All of those I will be discussing along with concept clarity. So please do subscribe to my channels to stay updated on these past paper series, and don't forget to share this with more of your audit friends. Today we would be solving practice paper 1 from the CV platform, and we would be discussing the case study based question which is coming in your section A of your audit. Now without wasting much of the time, let's get on to it. In this question, we would be discussing, the substantive testing on trade payables. Now, if you see, this question is very specific, where only one part of trade payables has been tested repetitively in all the 5 questions of this case study. So such a kind of question, if you haven't prepared for your substantive testing or for that particular item, can become very difficult in the examination. But there are some hacks to it which I will discuss when we are doing the questions. And when you are reading the question, please keep in mind the fact, when you're reading the questions, please highlight some important points so that you could use it for your reference later on. Now first we will read the requirement, and then first we'll read this part of the question and then the requirement. Okay. The audit manager has asked you to review the full list of trade payables and select balance on which supplier statement reconciliation will be performed. Now, honestly, this question can be answered without even looking at the requirement. So, you are answering a question, just think that if I were to audit this. Now, what do you mean by audit? The part is basically, you have to check. So if I have to check this, then how will I check? So if I have to check my trade payables, what will be the things that I will keep in mind? So start using your application, start just thinking on normal sense, okay, what is a trade payable? So just quickly, try to gather your thoughts. What is trade payables? What are the factors that you would be checking? What are the factors that I should consider if I have to see the trade payables is accounted correctly? So yes, just by recalling, I can figure out that trade payables are my creditors, trade payables are my liabilities. Liabilities, if understated, gives a wrong position in my financial statements. Then liabilities need to be accounted for. We need to follow prudence concept. So all these things should kind of pop into your head. So start thinking on those lines, and if you were able to think at least 1 or 2 points out of these, then you're going in the right direction. I hope you're understanding how to start thinking and how to start processing yourself. So now let's read the question. Identify by clicking on the relevant box in the table below if the following items should be included in or excluded from your samples. So if I am going to be doing a reconciliation of my trade payables, then on what all trade payables should I reconcile? So I will again start thinking logically, okay? Logically, the things I reconcile when I have some difference. Otherwise, why will I reconcile it? So now look at what all could be the factors where there is difference. Suppliers with material balance at the year end. Now see, this does not say if there's a difference or no, but I know if there is a material balance, I have to check it, because our audit says we need to perform audit on everything material. So again, all your basic concepts you have to apply. Even if you have not studied this, you should still be able to use your common concepts and answer the question. So this has to be included. Suppliers which have high volume of business with Popoico, again it is material transaction. Suppliers with nil balance at the year end. Now if the balance is zero, that does not mean the supplier is not important, because it says major supplier, so include this. Major suppliers where the statement agrees to the ledger. Now again, like we understood earlier, okay, that reconciliation is where there is a difference. This clearly says there is no difference, so just exclude this. I hope you're understanding, and I hope you're getting the flow of how you should start thinking on what lines should your thought process work. Now moving on to your next question. Which of the following audit procedures should be performed in relation to the balance with Lilico to determine if the payable balance is understated? Now again, audit of trade payables, major issue, if it is understated, it's a problem because you're understating your liabilities. Liabilities should never be understated, assets should never be overstated. Please make a note of this. Even if you use this common concept throughout your audit, you will never go wrong. Now let's read the requirement. You are an audit senior of Viola & Co. and you are currently conducting the audit of Popoy Co. for the year ended 30th June 2016. Materiality has been set at $50,000 and you are carrying out the test of details on the year-end payable balance. The audit manager has emphasized that understatement of trade payables balance is a significant audit risk. Now directly they have given us that understatement is an audit risk. Even if you didn't know, you have it in the question. Below is the extract from the list of individual supplier balance as at 30th June 2016 as recorded by Popoico, and corresponding balance on the supplier statement at the same date along with some commentary on the noted difference. Now we have two suppliers given, Carnation Co and Lilico. Now let's look at Lilico. So our balance is 105, but the supplier says we need to pay 175. Now what is the difference? The difference in the balance is due to supplier statement showing an invoice dated 28 June 2016 for $70,000, which was not recorded in the financial statements until after the year end. The payables clerk had advised the audit team that the invoice was not received till 2nd July 2016. Now, when do you have to account for your purchase? So, look at the similar concept of revenue. Revenue to be recognized when control of the goods is transferred. So typically the day when goods ownership I have received, I become the legal owner, so I can record for purchase as on that date. So what I need to check here is when did I receive the goods? Did I receive it before 30th June or after 30th June? And accordingly my payable balance should be accounted. So, procedure that I will perform, inspect the goods received note to determine when the goods were received. Yes, this is what we need to ideally check. Inspect the purchase order to confirm it is dated before the year end. Now, purchase order is just a document which we issue saying please send these goods. This does not anywhere let me know when the ownership is transferred. Review the post year end cash book for evidence of payment of the invoice. Now, typically invoice, if it's come on 20th June also, you might have 1 month credit, 30 days credit, 15 days credit. So it will be paid later. And we are not following cash basis of accounting. So if I was following cash basis, this would be the right way to understand when the payable has to be accounted for. Send a confirmation request to Lilico to confirm the outstanding balance. Already we have done that, and that's when we know the difference is there. So option A is your correct option. Moving on to our next question. Which of the following audit procedures should be carried out to confirm the balance owing to Carnation Co? Now let's read what is the difference in Carnation Co. The difference in the balance is due to an invoice which is under dispute due to faulty goods which were returned on 29 June 2016. Now what happens is we have returned goods to Carnation Co. And we have minus this from the payable balance. So we are saying I have to pay 50,000. But Carnation Co has not minused it, and he's saying you still need to pay me the value of those goods, 70,000. But again, this could be what the client is saying, but we know when we are doing audit, we need to have a professional skepticism maintained, wherein we have to have a questionable mind. Client is saying because he wants us to believe that he owes 50,000, but that could be false. So how do we check if the client is saying is correct or wrong? Is what the answer will be. Okay. Review post year-end credit note for evidence of acceptance of return. So if I have sent him goods, he will give me a credit note or he will make the adjustment post year-end. So yes, this is one way I can check. Inspect pre-year-end goods return note in respect of items sent back to supplier. So we will also have a goods movement register or a goods sent out register. So check in that if goods were actually sent out or not. Inspect post year-end cash book for evidence that the amount has been settled. Again, this is not a relevant example because we are not doing cash basis accounting. Plus, it is post year-end cash settlement, which could be for any other transaction. So if the client wants to make fictitious way of concealing this, he will conceal this through the cash book, and you will not be able to figure out. But how do you actually figure out goods were sent out? By seeing goods were sent out. Another way could be, if there's a proof of delivery of goods. Whenever you send out goods, there will be a tracking order. So check that. Here the correct answer is A and B, 1 and 2 only. I hope you're understanding. Please start thinking on the lines of an auditor. So how an auditor will think is be an investigator. You have to investigate each figure, each transaction that the client is saying. Don't believe anything. You have to be evidence driven. So just assume like you are a judge, okay? In the court of law, everything is evidence driven. The same way in audit, everything is evidence driven. So try and think on those lines. Moving on to the next question. The audit manager has asked you to review the result of test based on statistical sampling, which resulted in 20% of payable balance being tested. So you have picked out some test of trade payables, and now what you need to do on that. The results indicate that there is a $45,000 error in the sample, 20,000 which is due to invoice not being recorded in the correct period as a result of weak controls, and one-off error of $25,000 which was made by temporary clerk. So you collected samples, out of which 45,000 of samples value was wrong. Now whenever you are doing sampling and if something goes wrong, then you have to check the entire population to see if the error is only one scenario or it is existing multiple times. If it's a one-off scenario, then it's okay based on amount and how significant the transaction is. But if it is recurring again and again, then it's a problem. To just give you an example, let's say your teacher is telling you don't do your to just give you an example, your teacher tells you need to do your homework. If you're not doing your homework once out of 10 times, your teacher will also be like, it's okay, fine, it's fine. But if out of 10 times, 9 times you're not doing your homework, the teacher will definitely mark you as a bad kid and he will throw you out of the class. The same thing you have to apply here. If auditor is checking something and the client has done one mistake, you are the teacher, so you say okay, fine, it's okay. But if the client is doing this mistake 9 out of 10 times, you are the teacher, so you have to punish the client by giving it. Now let's read the option. What would be an appropriate course of action on the basis of result? The error is immaterial and therefore no work is required. Remember, the error is for one sample. Our materiality though is 50,000, but because we don't know, this is 1 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. So we can't comment on this saying it is immaterial. The effect of control error should be projected across the whole population. So again, I need to know how many times is this happening. That's the answer. Purple Co should be asked to adjust the payable figure by 45,000. Again, we don't know if this is the only amount. If this was the only amount, then yes, that's your corrective action. A different sample should be selected as the results are not reflective of the population. No, we don't know that as of now. As of now, based on the information given, we need to check how many times is this happening. Moving on to our last question. Okay. To help improve audit efficiency, Viola and Co is considering introducing the use of computer assisted audit technique CAAT for some audits. You have been asked to consider how CATT should be used during the audit of Pocoico. Now basically you can use now basically you can make use of computer at multiple levels in your audit. But let's look at these options and then evaluate which is right. Which of the following is an example of using test data for trade payables testing? Selecting a sample of supplier balance for testing using monetary unit sample. Now if I am using monetary unit, manually we do that. We don't use it based on computer assisted audit techniques. Now recalculating of aging will not give me a result of dispute. The option itself is quite vague, not able to give a correct answer from this. Calculating trade payables payment period to use in analytical procedure. Again, this is an analytical procedure, so you could recalculate this and get a good analysis. So yes, this could be one of the option. Inputting dummy purchase invoice into client system to see if the process correctly. Now, if I have to give a right answer, both third and the fourth option could be right. But look at the scenario. Now, what the scenario says? Computer assisted audit techniques. So, if I have to use computer, then the fourth option is more relevant because the third can be done manually also. Only I am seeing how the computer is processing my transaction. So, that will be possible when I put dummy invoices and see how they are processing. So your fourth option is the most appropriate one based on the options given. So I am selecting option D. So I hope you guys have understood, you guys have started getting the thought process which should be there while you're solving your audit question. Now few things to keep in mind, even if you have not studied audit, please try and solve it like as though you are doubting the figures and you are trying to figure out if what the client is saying is right or no. And second, please look at the options, evaluate it based on the data given. Sometimes 2-3 options can seem correct, but again go back and see what are they trying to ask and then answer it. And most important guys, time management. Typically one question is for 10 marks, so don't spend more than 15 minutes on answering it, which includes reading, assessing, analyzing and doing it. Now time management will come with practice, so please practice as many questions as you can. And your case study questions are the most scoring in your audit, because the 70 marks is writing paper, 30 marks is where you can score your marks. There is no negative marking, so please practice them really well. And in case you're looking out to get your papers evaluated, then also you can reach out to me. Or if you require any kind of assistance with regard to your audit exam preparation, please feel free to reach out to me. Contact details have been provided. I will be very happy to help you with your ACCA journey. And guys, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, do drop in a comment below if you require any kind of assistance or how you found this video. Please do share this video with more of your friends, and don't forget to subscribe, because my series of solving the past papers is going to be coming out soon, where we are going to be solving more case study questions and section D question. I'll be back with more such content. Till then, take care. See you all.